Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a YouTube channel, Your Cottage, based on some info you shared earlier.
hmm
And our mission, really, is to figure out what kind of knowledge, what insights it offers, for anyone interested in gardening, maybe getting better harvests, home improvement stuff, country living.
Yeah, and from what we've gathered, your cottage, it seems to tackle gardening with a real focus on results, getting more yield.
Right.
And they also get into home and garden improvements. Looks like everything from, bigger renovations down to just decoration.
Okay.
Plus, you get these glimpses into rural life, not just the nice bits, but the daily stuff, the challenges, and personal stories too.
Okay, so let's dig into that gardening aspect a bit more. You said increasing yields.
Exactly. It's not just here's how to plant a tomato.
Yeah.
It seems more focused on, well, how do you actually increase what you grow?
Which is key, right? For anyone who's put the effort in and wants to see, more on the table, that's kind of the holy grail sometimes.
Absolutely. And that focus on practical application, that seems compelling. It's less theory, more. Okay, here are techniques you can actually use to see a difference.
Makes you wonder what specific things they suggest. Any clues on that? Or just the general theme?
The info points more to the general theme of increasing yields through better care, fertilization, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Practical steps.
Gotcha. And moving on from the garden, home and garden improvement. You mentioned renovations and decoration.
Yeah, which is quite broad, actually. It suggests they cover the big structural projects.
Like knocking down a wall, maybe? Or
Yeah.
adding something.
Potentially, yeah. But also the smaller things, the decorative touches that make a place feel like yours. So it appeals to different levels of interest, I think.
That makes sense. So whether you're doing a major overhaul or just want to freshen things up a bit.
Right. It feels like a more holistic view of creating your living space inside and out.
Okay, now the country living insights. This part stood out to me because you mentioned daily chores and challenges. That sounds, well, refreshingly honest. Not just the romantic, idyllic view we sometimes get.
Exactly. It's described as stories and experiences of life on a country estate. But crucially, it includes the day-to-day realities.
The less glamorous side.
Probably, yeah. The routine, maybe the difficulties. It suggests a more realistic portrayal.
Which is valuable, I think, if you're curious about that lifestyle or even thinking about making a move. Gives you a fuller picture.
Definitely. That kind of transparency, showing the whole thing, warts and all, builds credibility.
And then layered on top of that, you said personal experiences. Stories from the people running the channel.
Yeah, personal stories related to living in the countryside. That adds a relatable element, doesn't it?
It really does. It takes it beyond just a how-to guide. Hearing someone's own journey, their successes, maybe their mistakes.
Makes it stick more. It adds that authenticity. You feel more connected to the information when there's a person behind it, sharing their experience.
Yeah, I agree. So, thinking about who this channel is for, who would really get something out of Your Cottage?
Well, based on everything, it seems pretty clear. If you're into gardening, especially if you want practical tips to, boost your harvest.
Right, results-focused gardeners.
Yeah. And if the rural lifestyle appeals to you, but you want the real picture, challenges included.
Not just the dream.
Exactly.
No.
And also anyone looking for practical home and garden improvement ideas, whether big or small.
So it pulls together those threads. Gardening, real country life, practical home stuff.
Precisely. It seems targeted at people with those overlapping interests.
Hmm.
It's a nice niche, combining the practical with the personal.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The key takeaway seems to be that Your Cottage offers this blend. Practical advice for your garden yields, tangible ideas for improving your home and garden space, and these genuine insights, these stories about what country living is actually like day to day.
Yeah, that sums it up well. Actionable advice, but rooted in real lived experience, not just dry instructions.
Sounds useful. So for anyone listening, if this sounds interesting, if it's, up your alley,
The next step's pretty simple.
yeah, just head over to YouTube, search for Your Cottage. That's one word. Check out their videos, see what you think.
Definitely worth a look if those topics resonate.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Yeah.
How does this kind of channel, mixing practical tips with these very personal stories on YouTube, how does that change how we learn about things like gardening or rural life?
That's a great question. It really blurs the line between instruction and connection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting evolution in how we share and absorb this kind of hands-on knowledge. Makes you think.